Welcome all, and thanks for listening. This screen shows the cover slide, the first of 11 slides. There's a picture of two Filipinos with disabilities moving through a street. This presentation provides a brief overview of why and how your OPD, Organisation of Persons with Disability, should join the DMN, the Disability Migration Network. It also provides a preliminary action plan that we could follow. However, there is information included in this video, for instance, forums and organizations that you might not have heard of before. If you have not, please do check out the other relevant videos that I have created. These show the evidence and the context of migration and disability, but also what is the DMN and what it wants to achieve. Slide 2 of 11 is the context for the plan of action. Currently, disability has not been included into labour migration theory or practice. Rarely do disability advocates talk about migration outside of humanitarian response. Migration interventions are not disability sensitive or responsive. Most migration organizations, from civil society organizations to multilateral, do not collect data on disability, and mostly they use medical model narratives, with many only talking about disability in relation to insurance. There is an assumption that persons with disabilities do not migrate for labour purposes. Freedom of movement as a human right has not been discussed enough for persons with disabilities, and countries create deliberate bottlenecks for persons with disabilities to migrate to them. Migration and disabilities are both cross-sectional issues, and there is an opportunity to operate in more spaces that we have not thought about and make them more disability responsive. We need to increase the level of OPD representation in national, regional, such as ASEAN, and global migration discourse throughout the entire migration cycle and in both immigration and emigration processes. Slide 3 of 11. How is the DMN connected to your core advocacies? This slide shows a diagram of the 4 areas of disability inclusive development, namely accessibility, awareness, participation, and empowerment. These are the building bricks of your work in development, and I'm going to give examples of how these can continue and are still relevant in migration. Accessibility. The challenges faced by persons with disabilities locally, such as transportation and digital access barriers, mirror those encountered during international labour migration. For example, accessing transportation services, immigration processes, and information on accessible destinations and workplaces can be equally demanding. By addressing these broad accessibility issues, we can champion global support for accessibility, ensuring freedom of movement worldwide. Awareness. As you all know, OPDs advocating for awareness and understanding of disability issues is crucial, from sharing success stories to awareness campaigns. This is similar in migration, but disability voices here are marginalized and there are little to no campaigns on inclusion, persons with disabilities. For instance, there is a limited awareness among immigration officials can result in lengthy delays and misunderstandings during the immigration process. Similarly, service providers who lack awareness about disability-related accommodations may inadvertently hinder the accessibility of critical services. Moreover, the general public's limited awareness can lead to societal stigmatization and exclusion, making it challenging for persons with disabilities to integrate and settle smoothly in new environments. By addressing these awareness gaps, we emphasize how vital it is to advocate for accessible migration policies and foster understanding at all levels, ensuring freedom of movement for persons with disabilities. Participation. OPD's active participation in local disability advocacy has positively impacted policies and attitudes, such as collaborating with local businesses to create job opportunities for persons with disabilities. Again, this same participation can shape labour migration policies, promoting inclusive employment practices for persons with disabilities seeking work abroad, especially in the context of increased disaster vulnerability due to climate change. Our participation can shape disability-inclusive migration and can lead to global awareness initiatives, reducing stigmatization and fostering a more inclusive global workforce. Empowerment. OPDs continue the process of enabling persons with disability to assert control over their lives, with more information to make informed decisions and actively participate in society on an equal basis with others. This same sense of empowerment can extend to the realm of international labour migration, where OPDs can influence policies that empower persons with disabilities seeking opportunities abroad. This empowerment can lead to global initiatives that break down barriers, reduce stigma, and empower persons with disabilities to navigate international opportunities with confidence and independence. Slide 4 of 11, where we can add value in the different migration stages. This page has an illustration. There are 3 circles: country of origin, country of transit/destination, another country or destination. These entail emigration and also the potential for return at each stage, where someone can permanently stay in a country or go reintegrate back into their original country. The different migration stages is pre-departure, arrival, stay in that country, return to your country, but I also want to look at acquiring a disability whilst abroad. Firstly, pre-departure. Persons with disabilities need to make plans and obtain documents and access other resources needed to migrate. Regarding this documentation needed, such as passport, visas, job offers, financial records, health assessments, and the like. These are areas of potential support which have not considered persons with disabilities' potential different requirements. Arrival. For persons with and without disabilities, international travel often involves arrival in destination countries by air, sea, or land. However, having the necessary visa doesn't guarantee entry, as border authorities may reject individuals for various reasons, including national security or public health concerns. Visa renewal options and eligibility for neutralization and family sponsorship vary widely among countries, making it essential for travelers with disabilities to understand the specific immigration regulations of their destination. Stay. For persons with and without disabilities, admission to a country often comes with specific regulations, such as a specified period of stay or the possibility of permanent residence. During their stay, individuals are expected to comply with all laws and requirements related to their immigration status, which might include employment conditions for those on work visas. As international and national laws ensure the protection of human rights for all migrants, regardless of their immigration status, it is important to monitor and provide services and case management for migrants with disabilities when these rules are broken by duty bearers. Return. Persons with disabilities' decision to return home after living or working abroad can carry various meanings. It may symbolize success and the achievement of their goals, or conversely reflect a sense of unfulfilled aspirations. This decision, often as important as the initial choice to migrate, can be influenced by factors such as the availability of support and reintegration programs, especially when faced with immigration restrictions in the destination country. This may lead for disability-specific support, achieving sustainable integration and reintegration back into the Philippines. Acquiring a disability. Acquiring a disability as a migrant can be an incredibly challenging experience. An OPD can provide crucial support in several ways. Firstly, it can offer emotional and psychosocial assistance, providing a safe space for the individual to share their experiences and feelings. Secondly, we can help navigate the complex healthcare systems in the host country, assisting in finding appropriate medical care and rehabilitation services and fair compensation or reintegration to work, whether that be at home or in the country of destination. Additionally, OPDs can facilitate connections with local disability support networks, offering guidance on accessing disability-related benefits and resources. Ultimately, their support can empower the individual to rebuild their life and advocate for their rights as a person with disability in a new environment. Slide 5 of 11. Why join the DMN? Together, we can tackle the key issues that confront migrants with disabilities in ASEAN and globally today. We can help address the lack of meaningful participation from local to global level in relevant forums and platforms, this be nationally, in ASEAN, United Nations, or the IOM, the International Organization of Migration. The lack of meaningful participation in private sector recruitment and hiring agencies, the lack of disability-focused migration programs or inclusion into mainstream programs, the lack of visibility in mainstream public discourse and resources dedicated to migrants with disabilities, the lack of visible role models and self-advocates of migrants with disabilities, the lack of household and community awareness mechanisms and support migrants with disabilities, the current silos of disability in development and migration, the barriers in the formal process of becoming a labour migrant, the use of medical and policies mechanisms rather than a rights-based one. Migration is continued to be driven from an ableist standpoint. Thus, we can unite together to address these issues and build capacity for ourselves and other organisations. Slide 7 of 11 is all pictures of logos of potential targets and opportunities. These logos are the Global Forum of Migration and Disability, the United Nations Network of Migration, the TFAMW, the Task Force on ASEAN Migrant Workers, which is a civil society operation. Then there is the Climate, Migration and Displacement Platforms, the ASEAN Civil Society Conferences from the ASEAN People's Forums, and there is different NGOs which work regionally and globally. For instance, the Mekong Migration Network, the Migration Forum in Asia, and the Global Coalition on Migration, the GCM, as well as migrant women forums. All of these can be targeted and get concerns of persons with disabilities and more representation in these locations. Slide 8 of 11 shows pictures of logos of potential opportunities that we could target. For instance, there are different laws being created by the ILO, by the IOM, by the United Nations, and bilateral agreements between countries. These are all shaped by the Global Compact for Migration and items like the Sustainable Development Goals. For instance, the C189, which is the ILO Convention on Domestic House Help, and there are multiple other conventions that need to be more disability responsive, which we could target and be in the room for to bring our points across. Then there is the global private sector and hiring agencies, and we do not know how they target persons with disabilities or make their job opportunities and other issues more inclusive. There are multiple areas that we could target for disability sensitivity trainings, different laws and processes that we could target to make them more disability sensitive and responsive, and multiple other arenas. Slide 9 of 11 is how to join the DMN. So that the DMN can start targeting migration issues important to persons with disabilities, to begin with, it is proposed that we have an initial meeting and draft the terms of reference to create the network. We can use national, regional, and thematic committees, and we can agree on our core membership and agree on a plan of action. Please, if you are interested, email us your interest at disabilitymigrationnetwork@gmail.com. The link is in the description below. Slide 10 of 11 is proposed plan of action. Priority 1 is to find funders. We need to address the gap of evidence on issues of disability responsive migration and have an evidence report from each ASEAN member. These reports should be created by partnering migration organizations within the country. Priority 2. After we have this evidence base, we should initiate the DMN in ASEAN. We should focus on amplifying perspectives of migration issues impacting persons with disabilities. We will need to target forums with our recommendations from our evidence and also build on OPD's capacities. Further, priority 3, address the gaps in the engagement of persons with disabilities in the broader migration rights and disability rights agendas. It is vital that we find partner OPDs, and we need applicants from OPDs in all ASEAN countries, from Brunei, Cambodia, Indonesia, Laos, Malaysia, Myanmar, the Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam. For us to collect and produce baseline evidence into current state of immigration and emigration into and out of your country to understand how freedom of movement operates. This will provide the baseline and foundations of evidence, where and what we should target based on the priorities of persons with disabilities themselves. We can become the leading voices and the catalyst for transformation in the migration arena. Slide 11 of 11. Thank you very much for listening. For more information, please check out our other videos. And if you want to get in contact with us, you can do this either by email at disabilitymigrationnetwork@gmail.com or by Facebook, facebook.com/disabilitymigration network.